In this video, we're going to automate some simple tasks using Python. First, we'll do it manually. When I start a brand new project, I usually set the coordinate system. In this case, it's going to be UTM Zone 10, NAT 83. So I picked on the coordinate system in the bottom corner, and I've already searched for it in the past. But if you're looking for it, you can always type UTM Zone 10 and it will come up, or if you hit search, it'll come up. But what we're looking for is the authority code EPSG 26910. So that's good to remember that UTM Zone 10 meters NAT 83 is that. Now, you may be working in a different coordinate system, a different part of the planet, but this data that we're working with is in this area of Western Canada and the US. It's UTM Zone 10. So we're going to use that. So I'm going to click OK, and you'll see in the bottom corner that our coordinate system is now 26910. It says use the ballpark coordinate system conversion if there happen to be any data in there, and that's fine. We'll close that. The next thing we want to do is drag and drop in some data. So I'm actually going to bring in the road's centerline shape. So I'll drag that in. And there it appears, and it picks it a random color. So maybe I'll change it to black. So I'll just double click on that layer and change the color to black. So we'll do that. We'll set it right down to black. There we go. Hit OK, apply. And now we've got our coordinate system for our current project and 26910, and we have a road center lines and they're black. Now, how do we do this all through a script? So let's just discard this project and we'll start a brand new one. You can see the EPSG is 4326. That's just lat long. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch this using code. So first of all, we want to use the Python dialog box here. Okay. So we want to set the project coordinate system. So there is a command inside of Python, and we're going to do this, and we're going to save it as we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the Python console on the side. And the very first thing is we're going to use this console. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. And we're going to try out the code in the console first, and then we're going to copy and paste it into this document so that we can do it again and again. So the very first thing in my console is, and I'm just going to move a few things over so you can see a little better. So remember, we're in a blank, brand new project. The coordinate system isn't even set. We haven't added any data. So the very first thing I want to do is add the coordinate system. So let's do that. So the first thing we do is we say QGIS project. There we go. QGIS project, that's what we want to do. And put dot. And we're going to just take the current instance. You'll see right here, there's instance. Yeah, instance. We'll do that. Put 2 round brackets. And then we're going to use a code called set CRS. So use that function. And then we say what coordinate system? Well, it's a QGIS coordinate system. So I'm going to go QGIS coordinate reference system. And what was the number? Remember, it's 26910. That's the UTM Zone 10 NAT 83. So there we are. So now that's the line right there. So we say the QGIS project of this particular instance, so the current one right now, set the CRS or coordinate system using the QGIS coordinate reference system number 26910. So when I hit enter right now, watch what happens. Oh, keep an eye on this in the bottom corner. Right now it's set to 4326. Once I hit enter, you'll see the EPSG is now 26910. How about that? It's been changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that line, not those little greater than signs, but just everything else. We're going to right click and copy, and I'm going to paste that right into this new project over here. So we have a brand new project. I put my cursor to the end and hit enter. So before I go any further, I'm just going to save this, and we put it on the desktop, and we'll just call it load layers.py. And I've done this once already, so it said overwrite. But basically, that's what you're going to have. So it says correctly saved. So we basically have a py. Py is a Python script file. Whenever you see a .py, that means there's Python inside of it. These are text files, so you can read them, open them up in Notepad if you want. But we have this little window here inside of QGIS where we can edit and look at it. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to bring in that layer called center lines. So these road underscore center line shape. So we want to add this layer right here, road center lines shape. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. First thing we need to make a variable. We'll just call it layer. And we'll say that layer equals interface. So the current interface. And we're going to add a vector layer. That's a nice function that we can use. And the path will be, depending on where you installed your data sets, mine happens to be on the desktop. So I'm going to go C, and I'll go //. So we're going to use double backslashes for all our slashes. And the reason we do that is just because it's a way of escaping them, because otherwise they trigger all sorts of other kind of code and that sort of thing, because they're become escape characters. So what we want to do is make sure we have double backslashes so it's treated as a single. That's just a little trick, especially when you're doing code like this. So make sure double backslashes for file names. It's under my user, which is Gordon Luckett. And then it's actually double backslash on the desktop. And it's under exercise files, so it's kind of long. Exercise files, double backslash again. Oh, I forgot a double backslash. Let's go back and make sure it's double right there. Okay, exercise files. And then it's under 1 beginning Python. And double backslash again, and data. Okay, now what was the name of the file? It was called road underscore centerlines. So we'll make sure that's in there. Road underscore centerlines dot shape. Quote, let's just make sure that's true. Road underscore centerlines dot shape. Yep, got that correct. That's the right path. I could have copied and pasted the path, but we just typed it in for this case, just so we know what it is. Okay, the next thing we need to add is what is going to be called. And we're just going to put in quotes. We're going to call it roads. Make sure it's showing up. Yeah, there's roads, in case you can see it. We're adding a vector layer. That's the path where it is. We're going to call that layer. It's going to show up under layers called roads. And the units, we're going to use OGR, because OGR is the tool we use for adding shapefiles, because these are shape files. We'll be looking at other files because this isn't an AEC, so architectural, electrical, and civil. We're going to be looking at different types of data, such as DWGs later on, but right now I'm just using some basic shapefiles to get us started with Python. But we're going to move into DWGs because that's usually what you do within an architectural and that sort of thing. But right now we're using the shapefile. So yes, we've got the path as shape. The name of it's going to show up in the layers, and that is OGR. And all I have to do now is hit enter, and it should appear. There we go. There's the road center line right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy again that whole long line that I just typed in, meticulously, I might add, because it was quite a long path. So we'll put it right here. So now we've got two lines. We've got the QGIS setting the coordinate system, and then we've got this layer right here that we've added. Okay, so I'll make sure I put enter, and remember to hit the save button. So the load layers.py is on your desktop. It's saved. And we've got two things. The third thing I want to do is take that ugly orange color and change this back to black. So those are the three things we want to do. So we have this layer, but I want to change it to black. So first of all, I've got to get the symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say layer, which is the name of the layer. And we're going to go renderer. The renderer is basically what QGIS uses to make whatever color or symbol or whatever of that particular layer. So we're going to take the layer in its renderer, and however it's rendered, like in this case, it's that ugly orange color, if you can see that. And we're going to get the symbol of that particular layer, and then we're going to set the color of it. In this case, we're going to set it to a Q color, and we're going to call it black. Just like that. And there we are. So if I hit enter at this point, that layer should turn black. Oh, it didn't happen. Guess what we have to do? We have to trigger a repaint. That means basically refresh. So you'll notice the legend changed, but not the map itself. So one last thing to do, what we're going to do is we're going to tell this layer to refresh or repaint. So I'm going to say trigger a repaint. not point, paint. And again, we'll put that in there and hit enter. Aha! So now we've got a black layer and we repainted it. It used to be that ugly orange color. So I'm going to take the first line, put it in right here, and then we'll get that repaint line and put it right below. Now you notice that's grayed out. As soon as I hit save, it's now a dark color. So we now have load layers PY. Now we did it all manually. We did it through the Python console. So we have that load layers. So let's try running this all the easy way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my Python console first of all, and then I'm going to start a brand new project. I'm going to discard whatever we're working on. So again, it's reset. So although I have my Python console open, I'll just toggle that on and off to show you. But you'll see the coordinate system is still at the bottom, 4326. I'll put the Python console. But look what's held in memory. I didn't have to go and open it up. Now I could go browse to my desktop and grab the load layers PY on my desktop, but it's already there. This is great. So either I can start a new project and open this PY, or if you notice, if I haven't closed out of QGIS, it's still sitting there, which is great. So now if I want to use it, I just hit this run script. Now watch what happens when I run this script. Not only does it add the new layer, not only does it name it to what I want and set the coordinate system, it repaints it to black. So we've got a EPSG 26910 black layer, and we've got that layer added. And you can do this for multiple layers. This one layer, this add vector layer, we could copy and paste that and basically have a script that'll load all our basic layers. Now, what use is a load layers Python? Well, this is great because what happens is you could set the coordinate system of any particular brand new project you're working on and add some base layers that you always use, maybe the city outline or a project outline of whatever you're working on. So if you have a project where you're working on a building site, or you're working on a particular neighborhood, you could have the outline of that and some of the roads and that sort of thing. So that way, every time you start a new project, you can have the coordinate system preset, all the layers that you wanted. Now you can set the color and have all this code at your fingertips. So you've seen from the Python console, copying and pasting as a Python file that's now on my desktop, and I can use it anytime I want. And now I've got this ability to reuse code over and over again, which is an extremely powerful tool within QGIS.